Welcome to Mindful Minutes with Musicians, the show where we aspire to inspire musicians and artists talking about mindfulness and what brings us through our practice to achieve greater goals. Hey everyone, thank you for tuning in today to watch this episode of Mindful Minutes with Musicians. And don't miss an episode, and take a second to subscribe and hit the bell and leave your comments below the video. Today's guest is Andrew Hyatt, who's been playing music as long as I've known him, not to age either of us, but since we've been back in our college days. His debut album was in 2015, an EP called Never Back Down. In 2016, as I was a stagehand, I saw him on stage at the CMT Music Fest. In 2017, he released his debut full-length album, Iron and Ashes, and then was performing festivals all across Canada, including the Cavendish Beach Music Festival and Boots and Hearts Festival, just to name a few. He was named the artist to watch by Entertainment Tonight Canada in 2018, and he was on the top 10 of most Canada country artists at Canadian radio, and 6 of the last 7 have put him on the top 15 at country radio. He's also won the CMAO Rising Star Award and the Sirius XM Top of Country competition. His latest single and EP, NeverLand, can be found on YouTube and Spotify and iTunes and Google Play and all of that. You got to check it out and download and buy and support. And he's here with us today. Huge welcome, and he's going to talk about some mindfulness and his path and everything. And here he is today, Andrew Hyatt.
Hey, how you doing, man?
All right, I'm good. Thank you so much for joining me and just being a part of this whole process. It's pretty sweet.
Yeah, man, love to be here. Love to always chat with old friends, and yeah, it's good.
Nice. I guess the first thing is like, how have you been? How are you doing?
I'm doing good, man. Just I'm gearing up to go back to work for what feels like, not that we ever stopped working during the pandemic, but
yeah,
getting ready to see people, bodies in front of the stage again. And I'm excited to do that and be on stage. And outside of that, it's good. I feel like this year has been a squeeze for sure, but there's been a lot of growth in it. And and I hope that most people are coming out, feeling like they know a little bit more about themselves rather than feeling lost or whatever. But that's kind of where I'm at. And yeah,
that's cool. Yeah, no, I feel that. Like, I know it's been a process, and not something that anyone wanted, or you know what I mean. Like, it's been difficult, and it's nice to start seeing these lights at the at the end of this kind of tunnel that we've been trudging through.
yeah, it's great. And it's like you're just swimming, and we're about to be able to take a breath of air.
Yeah, totally. It's been a hard one for our industry, and like anyone in like live events and stuff like that. And like, did you find like there was a lot of pivoting and stuff like that? How did that affect you, and like what kind of like stuff did that, like what kind of journeys did that take you on?
Yeah, I mean, I think right off the bat, when it was like, hey, this is going to be a 4-week lockdown, I was like, cool, 4-week lockdown. Like, I'm good with chilling. And so, we just kind of like in my house, we just threw on comfy clothes and we were like watching movies and just kind of hanging out, and it was cool. And then it just kind of kept getting extended. So I had set up a little kind of recording station in the basement. Like, we were in the process of finishing the basement, so it was just concrete and drywall at that point. So we're just kind of messing around with recording. And I want, obviously, like, where we met was at Seneca. I went to school for indie music production. So I was like, you know what, I'm gonna just start doing some demos and doing some really rough stuff and just trying to push that envelope. And that slowly became something that was taking up more and more time. And I'm still not great at it, but like, I'm cutting vocals now at home for all the new records. I don't have to travel. I don't have to go. So invested in gear, ended up, putting a room together, which you can't really see from this angle, but if you're
Yeah.
looking this way, it's all gear and everything.
Yeah.
Invested in some great microphones, and yeah, man, just really kind of focusing on uh making life easier for myself in some ways, like traveling
Yeah.
and keeping budgets down when, when we're traveling and I got to go to the West Coast, or if I got to go to Nashville to cut vocals, it's like, if I'm out there for a couple weeks, you're looking at flights, you're looking at hotels, you're looking at car rentals, food, that escalates pretty quickly on top of the budget.
Right.
So
Yeah.
now, with a microphone that's, for whatever, 4 grand, you invest at home and you buy a really nice mic and a really nice preamp. And now with the internet, I'm just sending stuff back and forth. So it's great in some ways. And also it's teaching me that my ADHD brain is powerful, powerful thing. So I've got these like little rewards set up along the way. If I like hit like, okay, you've done like 35 minutes of 40 minutes of work, it's like now you can do whatever it is, whether that's like, I feel like I'm reverting to childhood, but whether that's like reading a comic from 1990, like I've started collecting, or playing Xbox, or just like playing guitar, um,
Yeah.
something that is, not work related, but just for fun.
Yeah.
Your passion becomes a job. It can be a little interesting to try and balance that, right? Because all of a sudden, like what used to give you that like dopamine boost and reward you is now the thing that is like causing anxiety and stress. So it's like it's
Yeah.
uh it's a delicate balance, and it's been good, man. I mean, I went into this pandemic needing surgery for uh, a GERD issue and a hiatal hernia, which
Cool.
was really, it was messing up my voice real bad. Like I had zero tension left in my lower esophageal valve or
Cool.
sphincter.
Yeah.
um, so if I would like eat or drink water, I'd have heartburn instantly. It would like I don't think since I was 25, like I haven't or 24, I haven't slept through a night without needing to get up and take medication for it. And it
Hmm.
finally got to a point where it was like frying my ability to sing. So that, you know, rocked my mind. First of all, it rocked my confidence because singing was like breathing to me for the longest time. It was never something I thought about. And then all of a sudden I'm on stage, like, and I have to think so hard about technique and singing, or just trying to get the notes out. And it just changed the joy of music, and it turned it into something that would give me stress, and I'd be soaked in sweat before every show, like before even getting on
Hmm.
stage. And it just was like a struggle. So I got lucky, and I was one of the few in Ontario who was, when they opened up for that brief period, I was able to get in and get my surgery in October. Uh,
Amazing.
yeah. So,
That's
you know, I,
timing, right?
yeah, yeah, it was great. And I'm, obviously cutting vocals at home. It's super low pressure. So that's been really good to just kind of find
Yeah.
my voice again. And then I feel like getting back out on stage still has a little bit of like, I haven't shaken that rust off yet, to just kind of test it out and like see where my
Yeah.
brain puts me, because the brain's such a powerful thing. But I've spent the better part of the pandemic working with a vocal coach, Chanel Guyton, out of Nashville, via Zoom or Skype, or however we can do it. Um, and yeah, we've been hammering away, and it's the
Yeah.
mind is such a powerful thing. um that's like the biggest obstacle, because like if you have the ability to do it, but like you're constantly reaffirming that you can't, or that there'll be some struggle, or that you're worried about, it's like, nah, just trust it, man. Just go out and forget and sing.
Right. Right. It's yeah. It's nice because it's like a new look on like health and how that ties to everything. You know what I mean? Like just that's being such a huge part of even your everyday like things that seem so easily kind of flowing out type thing like that as far as energies and that kind of stuff like
Yeah, yeah, for sure,
yeah.
man. It's uh it's a good reset.
Mm-hmm. I like what you were saying about your process with like the you do a bit and then reward yourself with a break and then do a bit and reward like I've actually heard someone who like there was a scientific thing that said that you actually learn like it was more directed towards like self-learning and stuff like that, but if you take like breaks in between your learning
Yeah.
and not like just go all at it at all at once, you'll actually pick up and learn. You'll get more out of it by like giving yourself those breaks. You know what I mean? Like, So I think
Yeah.
that's super. That's super neat.
Yeah, man. I think that's like a big thing. I've never read it, but I have many friends who have read The Artist Way, um, which is just like a book on how to be a better artist and like how to like constantly channel your creativity. From
Mhm.
what I understand anyway. And that's one of the things that is in there is just like finding something that is a reward system that, you know, you have that scheduled. So it's like, you know, what you're working towards. Uh,
Mhm.
just to speak to that, to like taking a break and coming back. And um, that's something that I've always known, like, especially cutting vocals, like day one cutting vocals is a grind because it's like, you know, you're coming in, you're kind of like finding the groove, you're finding your pocket. Like I'm a grinder. I'm not the guy that's coming in and gonna just like
Yeah.
perfect the first like three takes. It's like I'm the guy that's like gonna find it, you know.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I come in day one and I'll like hammer it out, and then usually I'll come back day two to a song, and like that's the magic, right? It's like for some reason it's now locked in my brain. Everything feels
Mhm.
tight. I'm not pushing. I'm not pulling. I'm like in the pocket, and my pitch is better. And just knowing who you are, um, and kind of working with that is been super helpful.
And how the process, how you process things, and how, like, you know, that even, yeah, like even that kind of um that you know, that spontaneity, or that, like, that level of creativity, and knowing when that hits, you know.
Yeah, yeah, exactly, man. It's just like learning about like what your process is, right? Like some people can sit down and write songs about nothing, like that. And it's like, or they just can sit down and write every single day and like hammer out song after song. It's like, I can't do that. My tank gets empty real fast. Um,
Mhm.
so like I wait, and I maybe that's bad, maybe that's good. I don't know, but like I am where I am in this industry, and you know, I've taken outside songs many times, but like for me, songwriting has always been something that has been done out of necessity, not out of just like desire to do it. Don't get me wrong, I love writing songs, but when I want to write,
Mhm.
it's because I need to say something. And it's like
Yeah.
I never want to like cloud that with, hey, I'm writing just to write. Like if I don't have anything to say,
Mhm.
I find it so hard to get inspired. Where some people just have that natural gift, but it's like, you know, what I do is different than what anybody else does, and what they do is different than what I do, and that's totally okay. The ability to not compare yourself to somebody else and just put the blinders on and be like, nope, this is me, this is my goal, like this is where I'm headed, I'm going to hit those things. That's been something I've learned a lot about,
Mhm.
in the last year. Yeah.
Yeah, no, it's definitely opened up the possibilities, and, like, even within ourselves, of what we are possible of doing, and what we can do, and what we want to do, and, you know, that kind of stuff. Like, it's I was it kind of leads to the next question, which is, like, this year being the year it's been, like, has it really, like, like, made it giving you time to be more creative, or have you kind of, has it hindered your creativity, or?
uh it's funny because how I feel about the year versus the reality of it are two very different things. Like, um, I feel like it's been stagnant, um, but like looking back on what we actually did, it's incredible. Like you know, we were talking about this with management the other day, going, okay, well, we tracked 3 live videos. We shot a music video. We recorded a record live off the floor during a pandemic. Like, and it just happened to be like the 4 days that everything was open, or like
Yeah.
open. Um, and I cut a record live off the floor vocally, um, with a vocal injury, and then went in for surgery and got fixed after that. You know what I mean? Like, I just look back, I've
Yeah.
learned so much about recording music, and singing, and I've written a lot of songs too. Like I always tend to do this, like we do like country record and then kind of an Americana record. Um, or like,
Nice.
you know, it like meets like country, but like, I don't know, just like Bruce Springsteen with like Eagles meets like Tom Petty, just like with Andrew Hyatt mixed in there, right? Like just
Yeah, but
that feeling.
I remember you doing a whole bunch of different, like, folk, and, like, you know, a whole bunch of different, like, rock and stuff. You know,
Yeah, yeah. Like
you had,
I'm passionate about music. I'm not passionate
yeah.
about one genre, right? And I think I think we're starting to see that. We're starting to see it open up where, you know, you have country artists like Mackenzie Porter has a song that's like crushing at pop radio, but then also is like a #1 in country radio. And then you have Maren Morris, who, you know, she has her like the girl group that is doing kind of that like Southern, just like super real music. You know what I mean? And it's got like
Mhm.
old school vibes to it. And then she's got pop songs on radio, but then she's got like her country records as well. And it's just like, I think we're starting to see where the world is allowing that, and that's not a threat. That's amazing. Like
Yeah.
if you can create a pool that of whatever your repertoire is, and if it's bringing people into different genres just through what you're creating, like why not? Like what that's like, radio should never feel threatened by that. They should welcome it with open arms. Do you know what I mean? Like
Oh,
people
absolutely, man.
not
For
listen and be
sure.
like, oh, like this is a country artist. Are they really committed to country? Are they really committed to pop? It's like, who cares? Like it's great
Yeah.
music. Um, and yeah, man, that's kind of my goal this year is like I've set some goals for um, you know, I want to play things like South by Southwest, and I want to play you know, the what's it called? The Americana Fest in Nashville in 2022. Like those are goals for me where it's like I'm writing those records on my own and I'm
Yeah.
creating music that is like country radio. And then I'm also creating these Americana records. It's like, let's combine, let's just do both. Let's
Yeah.
combine that sound. And I've slowly been working um, in my career, you know, like building up as a Canadian country artist or just as a country artist, but then also doing these B-side records and slowly like, you know, the first B-side record was just acoustic guitar, super stripped down, like just sad songs. And then, or the Americana record, I should call it. And then, you know, this time around, we just released an EP called Wildflowers, which that kind of has that. It's not really a country record, like, you know what I mean? Like it has some old school country vibes to it. There's no doubt.
Yeah.
On a song called Jesus and the Whiskey, we certainly tip our hat to that old school country vibe, super stripped down acoustic guitar picking and just like lyrically. But then there's, you know, stuff again drawing from all of these other influences, and that's full band live off the floor. And then, you know, this record we're about to put out is definitely more country radio focused, which I love. I love it. It's super hooky. It's super catchy, super singable. But the next record after that, what I want to do is I don't want to do this side A, side B thing. I just want to go
Yeah.
in great musicians and I want to take it all and just create a melting pot and just have this sound that is both of those things. And for better or worse, we're gonna do it and we're gonna see what happens. So
That sounds amazing. I think that'd be super cool. I think I love that the idea of like just bringing that together. You know what I mean? Like, and it's you're able to see so many different points of view and so many different things within that structure type of thing. And
yeah,
you
man, like
know,
a great song is a great song, whether you're playing it on piano, acoustic guitar, pedal steel, playing it on like a ukulele. You know what I mean? Like
yeah, whether you're
great
humming
song.
it, yeah,
Yeah, it sounds great no matter what. So it's like
yeah,
great music will always prevail. So that's you know, no matter
yeah,
how it's phrased or pointed, it's like a song with lyrical depth and something that has some sort of melodic hook to it that people want to sing or that it inspires people in a certain way. Like those songs, maybe they won't win in the way you want them to, but eventually they'll win. You'll inspire people, and that's the win, right?
that's
So
it. That's like even if it's just one person, that's like, that's beyond what anyone else could expect,
yeah,
like.
that's
And
it, man. That's exactly it. So yeah.
yeah, it's I appreciate and really love that sentiment of just being like willing it, you know what I mean? Like you're ready, you're already like willing, you're like, you're gonna play these festivals and you're ready for that, you know what I mean? And that's gonna come because I feel like that's when you put yourself in those mindsets, then it just like you move towards those goals and those objectives, and like
Yeah,
that's
that for sure is something that has been learned or like taught to me. It's not it's not that doesn't come naturally to me, you know what I mean? Like I've been working with an amazing vocal coach, like I said, and then I have amazing management who's kind of guided me. But then also, I've worked with this woman, Andrea Crisp, out of Toronto, who does artist. I don't know. I hesitate to use the word life coaching because I hate that term, and that's not a knock on it. It's just like it to me, it has like such a weird vibe to it, but it's more just like her ability to counsel and like guide would be what I would say. And I did this 1.5 hour intensive with her, and we were discussing some things that were bothering me, and we got to the root of that very quickly. And it was just like, the root of it is that I feel like I don't value, or I feel like I'm not valued in like some of the things that I'm creating within the industry that I'm fighting for, which, that was how I was, that was the lens with which I was viewing things. I was kind of getting a little bitter and getting frustrated. Because, you're creating art and then you're handing it off to somebody else to grade, which, if you're proud of what you create, then that's all
it.
that
You
matters.
should be,
Like
yeah.
art is subjective. So it's like, but something that she said was like, okay, I want you to imagine just for a second that you are valued in this industry and that you are celebrated in this industry, and that what you're creating has worth. And these are all personal things I'm struggling with. This is not a knock on my industry or anything like that. This is just my self value was lacking. And she said, okay, imagine that you feel the opposite of everything that you're feeling. Now find evidence for it within your daily life. Find evidence that you're valued. Find evidence that you're worthy of being invested in. Tell me the evidence. And I was like, well, I had a team. I saw the most growth in my career when I had an injury and couldn't sing. So it's like, you know what I mean? Couldn't sing. And then it's like, I have a team that through like the worst part of my entire career as an artist, through a record label change, through a rebuild, stuck by me and continually invested. It's like, I've seen, show growth. I've seen stream growth. I've seen financial growth. So it's like, okay, well, maybe there is value in what I'm creating then, because the evidence is there, right? So
Totally.
What I took away from that is whatever you're looking for, like you will find evidence of it. Do you know what I mean? Like whatever narrative that you choose to believe, there's evidence of it. So if you want to believe that you're worthless and a piece of shit, it's like you will find evidence that you're worthless and a piece of shit. But if you want to find evidence that you're valued and loved, and that what you create is celebrated, then it's like you can find evidence of that. Just look around, So it's really important to make sure that however you're viewing life is through a lens that is the one that you're chasing after, because it's opening doors for you. And that's not hocus pocus. It's just like,
no, it's
if you're constantly like feeling shitty about yourself, and like you're going to project that, and other people are going to start to sense it. Whereas if you feel confident and you're like, no, like I'm going to do this no matter what, you'll find those opportunities, and you'll like that energy will energize people around you. It's an interesting approach to life. And I feel like it's been such a short time, and I see so much value in that way of living already.
Yeah. Oh man, I think this year I've been doing therapy as well, and I think just that guidance as well, like that someone to kind of like shoot ideas off of and stuff like that, and someone who's like really educated and like who knows, what you could do this, like, and if you just follow, that wavelength or that thought process, then that's going to lead you towards, that positive thought process.
Yeah,
like
100%, man. Change the lens that by like from what you view life. You know what I mean? Like just look for evidence of what you want.
Yeah. Yeah. No, it's true, man. It's funny because like the beginning of all this, there was like this whole like idea of like this whole shift happening of everything, like everything's going to change and everything, what I mean, which it has. And these things have kind of like shifted, and we are able to to like, you know, see this lens from different, you know, different views and different angles and stuff like that. But I feel also that like it's almost given like a fisheye view, you know what I mean, where we're now like, it is distorted, but we're able to see so much more within this view, if that makes sense. Like there's like this idea of like you know, even like being able to do, like you were saying, this next show you're going to be recording this like live, but then it's going to be broadcast online.
Yeah.
And so that's going to be like, not only are you going to be, you know, being able to share that with all of the people that are with you, but then you're going to be able to share that with like the world, you know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
those are things that I find are super cool that are coming out of this, is that there's just there's the, like, everything is kind of widening, and the accessibility to get everything is just opening up. And like,
Yeah.
you
I
know,
feel like through forcing people to kind of change how they approach music and just everything in general, we're seeing a shift in the reach that we can have just from our homes, the reach that we can have through technology. You know, I'm sure there's a lot of people that'll never want to get in a Zoom call again in their life, but for a guy like me, who it's like, I don't want to live in Nashville. Like I think it would be cool for a bit, but it's like I would rather live in a small town with, you know, a big yard and my dogs and my fiance, and just like be able to go fish anytime I want and have this, like, not that you can't do that in Nashville, but just like, I like it here. I like my summers, and I like traveling, and I like the affordability of it. And then, you know, be able to hop on a call like this and be like, hey guys, let's write a song today. You know,
yeah,
it's like, it's no different than being in the room. In fact, it's
yeah,
probably more efficient 90% of the time, because we're not
you're
going to lunch, and
you're
we're not going to grab beers, and we're not, you know what I mean?
you're
Like,
cut, yeah, the travel cost and the, you know, yeah,
yeah.
totally, man. um the next kind of question I was going to ask is like, what kind of tips or tricks uh do you use to get into like a mindful state, or this creative state? Like, what kind of things would you say kind of help you like get into those modes, or those, you know?
Yeah. I don't know, man. I feel like the biggest thing for me is um making sure that like my mind is in a good spot. Like, I do struggle with anxiety a lot of the time. Um and I find that just simple things like drinking enough water, it sounds so simple, but it's like, hydrate, get proper sleep. Like, I've been sleeping terribly the last couple weeks. And I start to notice like my anxiety just goes through the roof, and to the point where like I feel like my throat is closing in all the time. It's like,
Mm-hmm.
if I sleep proper or properly, then I end up with a mind that is not racing 100 miles an hour. And if it does start to race, I can control that, and that helps me just knock things off. But yeah, I mean, you know, Lisa here at home will tell you, like, I'm not easy to live with, because I have times where I'm just like totally useless, and it just like, I'll set out a list of tasks and I cannot complete them. I just, for whatever reason, I struggle to do any of that. But when I
Mm-hmm.
am taking care of myself, I find that those things just happen quicker. It's like, I think it and I go and do it. Whereas like, when I'm not taking care of myself, I think about it and think about it and think about it, and it slowly grows into this thing that just seems so massive. It's just like a mountain that I cannot climb. And then all of a
Mm-hmm.
sudden, and then, you know, the next day I'll get like the proper amount of sleep, and I'll drink enough water, and I'll sleep properly, or I'll eat properly. And next day I wake up and I do it. And I'm like, why did that take me 2 weeks to hammer this out? So I would just say, you
Yeah.
know, make sure you're taking care of yourself, I think is the biggest one for me.
Yeah, no, that link with health is like,
Yeah.
you know, super important, you know, like very important. But I also love what you were saying earlier about like when you write, you have that story, you know, or in mind, of what you're writing, you know, just not just writing for the purpose of writing, like actually, you know, having these topics, or having like that. I like that as well.
Yeah, man. I think the reason I take a lot of outside songs um, obviously best song is always going to win. But for me, what I know what I write songs that um, they're like the slow burners, right? It's like they're just songs that are about something that is so personal, and it just is like it hits the way I want it to hit, and it's not meant or crafted to like be the song that just makes you feel happy and lucky and like outgoing. And it's
Yeah.
like every once in a while I get one of those, right? Like
Yeah.
Wildflowers feels that way to me, but I'm not always writing happy stuff, and but I'm also not trying to force that. I'm happy if like somebody can write something that is amazing and I hear it and I relate. It puts me in a time and place in my life. I'm like, and they pitch it to me. I'm like, yeah, I'll cut that for sure. That sounds amazing. Like I'm happy to take great songs, but I'm also I don't want to steal the joy of creating music. Like when writing becomes a like something that frustrates me or something that is just like it's not giving me that sense of reward because I feel like I'm not good enough at it, or it's like I'm trying to like you know round peg square hole kind of thing, trying to like fit this thing in. I'm like, this doesn't work. Like, why am I? So that's kind of where this Americana thing has come in and been amazing. And it's, I have written country songs, and I do write country all the time. I just I
think
find
it's
it's like
I was gonna say it's like I think it's like allowing yourself space, for that stuff, and allowing yourself that the freedom to be in your space.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, and also just allowing whatever is going to come out and not try and force something. Like I hate the feeling of just forcing creativity. It doesn't sit well with me. So yeah, that's kind of where I'm at, man.
I love it. I'm gonna ask one last question, but it's kind of a doozy. What is mindfulness to you?
Ooh, that's a good one. Yeah, I feel like this is probably not the definition of it, but
I think everyone has their own like version. You know what I mean? Everyone's approaches it different. So
I would say mindfulness for me is being able to step back and recognize why you do what you do and why you are the way you are. And then if you can pinpoint the things that you are doing that are destructive to you or in your life or are not adding to your life in a positive way, finding out the root that causes that and then being able to make a conscious effort to change for the better. And that's something that this pandemic has brought to me through the magic of mushrooms. But if I'm being honest, it's one of those things, and I'm not saying like go and do it all the time, but yeah, that's something. It was this weird experience that I had where I was sitting outside. It was the middle of winter, and I had taken a low dosage of mushrooms. And I'm not promoting drug use at all, but I knew what these were, and knew where I was going with them. And that's something that hit me, was just like I was thinking thoughts, just thinking in general. Funny that I say thinking thoughts, but I was having these thoughts. They were very negative towards like myself. Like they just and I was just, and then all of a sudden it just like, if you've ever done any kind of hallucinogenic, it just very very quickly, like you can go down the rabbit hole, and next thing you know, you're like,
oh yeah,
I'm in a time and a place, and I'm going like, oh, this is why I do that. This is why I'm doing this. And it's based off this like childhood experience or this like teenage trauma that I went through, going like, oh, like I never dealt with this. And then suddenly it's like just realizing that changes everything. And it's so I think if you can be like, if something you're doing makes you wake up in the morning and you feel shitty about it, or you're feeling shitty about yourself, just being able to say like, why do I do this? Or why do I feel attacked in this scenario, in this conversation with my significant other? Or why do I lash out in this? Or why does this trigger me to like get angry? And it's like finding the root of that. I think that's mindfulness, is like realizing what is running you, you know, and what is running
Yeah.
you negatively and what's running you positively.
Yeah, I love that, man. That's it's it's a level, like it's just gaining levels of self-awareness, and
Yeah.
being mindful of what you're doing, kind of thing, and who you are, and where your path, and
Yeah,
all of
yeah.
that.
I think it's something when you're young you do so often. Uh, growing up, you're kind of always like assessing yourself and kind of, you know, because you're so unsure of yourself. But as an adult, sometimes I feel like for me anyway, I got on this path and then I realized like I'm just kind of existing. Like I haven't set goals or I hadn't reset goals. You know what I mean? I'm
Yeah.
still like living on the living in this space of like, oh, I've achieved this. And so I'm just sitting in this like pool and there's a whole nother stream to swim up. So I've started to reset goals. I've started to exactly like be mindful and just like start to think about why I'm doing what I'm doing and how I can change that for the better, and seeking help in those scenarios, right? Like sometimes you need someone with an outside perspective, like a counselor, like
Mm-hmm.
you know, a coach, like just somebody who can tweak, you know, just go like, oh, this is wrong, tweak. Like an athlete, they can look at your performance and go, well, if you just change this, like if you change your stance or change your posture or this, you know, you'll see something better.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's that, man.
Yeah, man. I'm totally on that wavelength, man. And I appreciate you spending the time with me today and hanging out and chatting and stuff like that. Like it's been uh super amazing,
Oh,
and I just
happy.
want to thank you for that, man.
Yeah, happy to hop on, man. Sorry, I feel like we got a little delay here, so I keep cutting you off.
No,
uh,
no, it's the Zoom world, man.
yeah, absolutely. But yeah, man, thank you for having me, and hopefully we see you out on the road at some point. That would be great. I don't know
Right?
if you're still gonna be doing
That's
stuff.
Oh, I'll be around, man. Hopefully I see you on some stage sometime soon. We're
Yeah, man.
here, we're hoping this roaring 20s are on its way. So
Yeah,
let's
exactly.
let's keep that. It's gonna put this outro, and yeah, I appreciate this.
Beauty.
Thank you for tuning in to Mindful Minutes with Musicians. For more information about my guest and the topics of the show, go to blackmoremedia.ca and connect with us on all social media platforms. Welcome to the MMWM family, where we aspire to inspire. See you soon.
All right. Yeah, huge thank you to Andrew Hyatt. Thank you for joining me, and I really appreciate this, man. And yeah, hopefully we all see each other on those big stages soon enough.
Yeah, we can only hope, right?
Yeah.